Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I know that a lot of you probably saw my baby announcement video. If you did not, I will leave it in the description box below or in the iCards above, whichever one I remember to do. But I thought it would be fun to do a couple of different videos. So I'm going to do my reaction to me being pregnant with an 8-month-old with my 5th baby, and I'm going to do my husband and my kiddos reaction to me being pregnant, and we shall see what the differences are. So I have some coffee here. Do not worry, I drink the recommended amount. I don't drink over that. This is the only caffeine I have. I have water or juice or non-caffeinated beverages all through pregnancy, except for my coffee. I have also been lowering my ounces so that I can have 2 cups a day to equal the recommended amount because I need that afternoon pick-me-up, but I can't stand not having coffee in the morning, so I've lowered the amount that I have in the morning, which is hard, but that way I can have a 2nd cup in the afternoon and it not be a big deal. Okay, see how my coffee cup is much smaller than usual? Yeah. So anyways, I have a cup of coffee. It's yummy. Get a drink and sit down with me and we'll chat for a minute. So how to even start this? Let's talk about my reaction. So first, I think the question on a lot of people's mind, and whether they just don't want to ask this question because they don't want to be rude, or they don't want to ask just because who knows, or they do ask to be rude. Who even knows that? Did we get pregnant on purpose? No, we did not. This is actually Tristan and this baby are only surprise babies. We actually planned each pregnancy other than that. More or less, like, you know, with a couple of them, it was just that we knew that it was a probability. With others, it was actually we tried to get pregnant. So that is the case with all of our kiddos, except for Tristan was a complete surprise. And but even then, like, it was not a shock or a big deal. Like, it was just like, whenever it happens, it'll happen. We got married, and 2 months later we got Tristan, and then here now is a different story. So I'm going to tell you all the business, okay? So just get ready to know. I think probably the place to start is that when I have had a baby, my 6-week checkup, after that checkup, I always get an IUD. I've always gotten the Mirena. That's what I've always had. I have gotten the Mirena after Tristan, after Killian, after Alaric. Well, after Jensen was going to be no different. I was planning on getting the IUD. When they asked what form of birth control did I want, that's what I told them at the hospital, at my OB, and that was in the cards. However, when I was pregnant with Jensen, I had some scary cells on my cervix, and they were actually... when I found out the gender of Jensen, the same day I found out the gender, they said, hey, you might have cancer. It was like, congrats, it's a boy. Also, you may have cancer. It was literally like that. Some of you may remember that in a couple of vlogs that I did back then. So that's what happened to me, and it was terrifying and devastating, and I was nervous. Since you're pregnant, there's not like a lot of procedures that they can do because it is dangerous for the baby, but they were able to go in and biopsy some of the cells without causing any danger to myself or Jensen being more important, of course. And they found out that I had, they were not cancerous, they were precancerous cells, but they were a little bit scary. So they are the cells on the high end of the spectrum that are not cancer, but they're almost to that point to where you need to worry about them. So because of that, they definitely wanted them removed as soon as possible, but of course it's not safe to remove them while the baby is in your belly. So I waited until Jensen's birth, and Jensen's birth, because it was a VBAC, because it was a vaginal birth, it washed out a lot of those scary cells, right? Which is amazing. Like, he got rid of a lot of them for me. But there was still some scary stuff on there. And so after he was born, after my 6 weeks, I waited the 6 weeks. And when I went in for my appointment, instead of getting an IUD, I had a LEEP procedure done, which is where they basically like burn / scrape off it's like a burn and scrape of your cervix. The cells, they burn and scrape them out. And yeah, so I had that procedure done. It wasn't fun, and they cut it off. Like it's not fun, okay? But it could be a lot worse. Like I didn't make a noise or a face or anything. I was just kind of like, and the doctors are like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, most people like jump. Like, whatever you do, don't jump. And I was like, don't jump. Like, duh, you have a flipping knife inside of me. Like, I'm not gonna jump. But they were really surprised with my reaction because I take pain very, very well. I guess if I know that it has to be done, oh well, just grit your teeth and bear it. Like, oh well, it's got to be done. So just deal with it. So anyway, I digress. None of that matters. So when I had that done, they told me that it would be best if I waited till my 6-month checkup to get an IUD insertion, right? To make sure the cervix had healed properly, to make sure there's no other cells that needed to be removed after the fact. Like, it looked like we got everything. Everything looks great. Like, the parameters, when I went in for my checkup biopsy, the parameters were good. Like, everything looked great. But I needed a checkup later to make sure. So I couldn't get that until 6 months after my procedure, which is like now. So I was getting ready to call in and schedule my appointment. But at that time, which was, a week or so ago, at that time I had been having, some symptoms, which are completely normal. Like, for instance, crankiness and like a quick fuse, and a little bit of bluesiness, and a little bit of cramping, not period cramping, like not bad, but just a little cramping, like your pre-cramps, you know what I'm talking about, where you're like, it's imminent, it's coming, like what's coming, but it's not here yet, so it's not as bad as the real thing, but it's coming. I was having some of those, and I was like, okay, well, it's just the week before my period. Well, stomach sensitivity, things like that. It's just the week before my period. Emotional, like, getting really emotional really easy. Like, I'm not a crier, but like the Christmas service or whatever, where my dad was preaching about Mary and like her perspective, and her knowing that Christ was her son and he would have to go through all that. So I'm gonna cry again. Like, it happens every time. Talking about how, like, him being born, her looking at him after she gave birth, she already knew. Like, she knew what he was going to have to go through. She knew that he was going to be the savior of all. Like, she knew. She may not have known every detail, but, like, she knew that it was so much bigger than just her baby and her child. And, like, him going to the cross and her knowing, like, that that's her baby, but he's also Christ. And I was just, like, crying. Like, I lost it. Which, it gets to me every time because I'm a mama and I have baby boys, and it gets to me. But it was just like little things like that were really getting to me easy, and I'm not a crier. Like, I don't cry. When it's appropriate to cry, I still don't cry. Like, at funerals, I tend to like laugh because it's like a nervous thing. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at sadness. I'm not good at like those kind of situations. And so I was getting really emotional, and I'm like, okay, well, it's just the week before my period. That's the only reason why. Well, a couple of days, after I had made those comments, my husband was like, hey, when are you supposed to start your period again? I was like, why? Like, he literally never asked me about my period. Ever, ever, ever asks me. Never. And I was like, I think it's the week before. Why? And he was like, I don't know. I just feel like you've said that before. And I was like, oh. And then I got to thinking, and I was like, I feel like I have been saying that for a while now. Like, I've probably been saying it's the week before my period for like 2.5 weeks. And so I was like, when was my last period? So I start looking back. I'm not really great at keeping track of it, I'm not gonna lie. But I remembered that when I did this baby shower event and I was decorating it and hosting it and all of the things at church, that I was on my period because it was annoying and I had to like stop in the middle of everything and go to the bathroom. And so I was like, okay, well, I know that I was on my period then, and I think I started like a couple of days or 3 days or something like that before that. And so I was like, okay. And so I looked it up, And I was like, holy God, that was November the 17th, which means it was like November the 15th or 14th when I actually started. Oh my God. And I was like, so I told him, I was like, my last period was like November the 17th. And he was like, are you kidding me? And I was like, no. And you guys, you don't understand. I have sold all the baby clothes. All the ones that Jensen has grown out of, except for one last trash bag full that I was going to give away to a pregnant lady that I know who's having a boy. I was about to give them to her. That's the last bag of newborn, 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, or 6 months. That's it. He was just growing out of 6 to 9, so I hadn't went through all of those yet. So I still have most of the 6 to 9. But newborn all the way to 6 months is gone. Like, there's a trash bag full of like some newborn, some 0 to 3 months, but most of them all gone. And I mean all of them, like all of the ones that Tristan wore, Killian wore, Alaric wore, Jensen wore, gone. You understand? So I was done. And when I say I was done, I was done. I'm tired. We had talked about it so many times about, things that we want to do and plans that we were going to make. And, it's probably time for us to go ahead and stop having children. And, I was done. Like, I felt done. But I have to admit that even being pregnant with Jensen, there was just a small thing. It was kind of like, are we done? Yes, I'm done. I am done. But it was just this nagging feeling I had, like for instance, when I would count my children, I would count them and feel like someone was missing. I know that's weird. I know, I get it. I would feel like someone was missing. Like, okay, like Jaren would be with us. Jaren, Tristan, Killian, Alaric, Jensen, okay, 5. And then I would be like, don't I have another kid? Like, I would be looking for another child. When I had them, I would be looking for another child. Like, it was just this weird thing. And I was like, are you sure you're done? Are you sure we're done? Are you sure? And even as I was getting rid of the baby clothes, like selling them or giving them away or whatever, I just had this feeling in the pit of my stomach, like my stomach was dropping. And I thought it was just like problems letting go and all of that, but I had this feeling. Okay, so Josh was like, go get a test right now. And I'm like, okay. So I pack up the kids. I had all 5 of them. I pack up the kids and I put them in the car and I go down to Dollar General. And it's like right down the road. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. So I get a test, and it's the only test they have. And they don't have any digital tests. It's only the ones that like show the lines. So I'm like, okay. I come home and I take the test. And it goes like really fast, right? Because those are a little faster. So it goes really fast. Once, the liquid fills the testing line and it goes really fast. I'm like, okay, cool. So it's negative. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I keep looking at it. And as I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, it's negative. Oh, it's negative. It must just be a fluke. Like, this must be just a breastfeeding thing and it's fine. And then I look over at it again and I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm like staring at it, right? And I put it in the light and I'm like, I swear to God, I see a line. And I run in here to another light and I put it in the light and I'm like, I swear to God, there's a line. And there's a faint line because I took it in the middle of the day, right? And the more I'm staring at it, the more the line is getting darker. And I take a picture of the line and the line is still there. Now, if you take a picture of the line and the line is still there, there's a line, okay? Because most of the time when you do it on camera, it doesn't show up as well. So I'd send it to Joshua and I'm like, am I crazy? Is there a line? Am I crazy? And he's like, go get a digital test right now. And I'm like, oh. So I pack up the kids again and we run to CVS, which is further down the road. And we go to CVS and I get a digital test. And I come home and I take it. And right away, like right after, like it doesn't even seem like it takes the long time. Like I leave it in there and I come back and I'm like, because at this point I just know, right? Like I just know it. I mean, I'm late. I'm never late. You could literally set your clock by my time of the month. My cycle is always right on time. And I'm late. And now I've seen this line that's there. And so I'm just mentally preparing myself. Like my heart's beating out of my chest. I'm like, Ashley Johnson, you have an 8-month-old child and now you are pregnant. What in God's name is happening? Oh my God, you're pregnant. Oh my God. Oh my God, like I'm just thinking, you got rid of the clothes. You got rid of the clothes, Ashley. What are you thinking? Oh my God. And my mind is just, but I'm saying nothing because I don't want them to know and the kids don't know. And I go get a test and I take it and it says pregnant. And so in that moment, I totally should have told Joshua it was negative and like did a surprise for him like I did last pregnancy. I totally should have done all the things. But I was so in shock and so taken aback that I sent him the picture right away and was like, you did this. Like, and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay. I'm pregnant. Oh my God, I'm pregnant. And he's so little and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like having a semi-panic moment, but I wasn't emotional. I wasn't crying. I wasn't like upset. I was just kind of shocked and freaking out just a little bit. Not much, right? Just a little. Because of the fact that, you know, I was done. So I couldn't take the IUD. I also couldn't be on birth control pills because I'm breastfeeding. So you can't be on pills when you're breastfeeding like that. And we were using contraceptives, but obviously they're not 100%. I mean, obviously, right? And Josh was like, we could have bought stocking condoms. Like, how does this happen? I think I was the one who said that, actually. And so I'm like, I don't know, but it's here and it's happened and here we are. And so it is what it is. We're at this point and we're just going to be happy because that means that if we did everything that we could do to prevent it and it still happened, then God had other things in mind and then it's a blessing. And so then I started to get happy about it. I mean, look, the moment I pee on the stick, whether I hate pregnancy or not, whatever, I'm happy there's a life inside of me, right? Like I'm touching my belly. I'm like, hi, little one, like, hi. I'm happy you're here. And I truly am happy, but I am not. That's what I said to him. He was like, I'm so excited. And I was just like, he was like, are you excited? And I was like, no, I'm really not excited. I'm happy. I'm happy that life is inside of me. I'm happy that we are blessed with another baby. I'm happy for all the things, but right now I'm not excited. Now I've had some time to kind of process everything and I am getting excited, but I'm nervous. So excited and nervous are probably the words that I would use because this is a big deal, you guys. Like I have a crawler right now who's currently in his swing in there, if you can hear the background noise, and he's listening to worship music that he loves, and he's starting to get fussy because he refuses to take a nap today. And so he's starting to get upset. Like before he was just talking and babbling and having a good old time, but now since I've started this video, now he's like angry babbling and he's starting to whine just a little bit. No. I have an 8-month-old. I have a crawler. He's into everything. He's putting everything in his mouth. I also have 3 other wild children, 4 wild children every other weekend and all school holidays. And so that means that it's crazy, right? Like I'm going to have a newborn and a 15, 16 month old. Like it's a lot. And I was just coming to terms with the fact that, okay, I'm going to get him old enough to start being a little more independent, and then I'm going to put my nose to the grind of all these things. And now I'm starting again, which, let's look back. If I'm starting again, it's good to have them back to back this way. Plus, I always give my body 2 years to recuperate. Obviously, this is not 2 years to recuperate, right? So that makes me a little bit nervous. I am 34 years old, so I will be almost 35 when this baby's born, which is not old. It's still baby making years. You know what I mean? Like, it's not considered like old in pregnancy. So it is fine. I know 42-year-olds having kids. Like, it's okay. And I try really hard to take care of myself when I'm pregnant, but it's still a lot. And I know that's going to be a lot once the baby is born. Joshua, the reason why that day he asked me, when are you supposed to start your period? The reason why he asked me is because the night before that and the night before that, he had a dream that we were having a baby girl. And so it made him really think about it. And then he was like, wait a minute, when are you starting your period? He just felt like I was pregnant. He had this overwhelming feeling that I was pregnant. And so he's convinced we're having a girl. I don't know. Maybe that was God's way of, you know, that's why I sold all the clothes. That's why I did all the things, because God was going to give us a girl. And so that's going to be fine. It's not going to be a big deal that I sold all the boy clothes, because they're like really boyish boy clothes, right? Like, we can salvage some of the boy clothes and make them into girl clothes with a bow and a pink shirt, but you can't do that with everything, right? So I get that. Maybe that's it. Maybe this is our girl. You know, this will be 6 children for Joshua and 5 for me. So maybe this is the girl. He is the determiner of the sex. So this will be his 6th child. So perhaps his 6th one, he decided to pop out a girl. Like, I don't know if that's even possible for him, but we shall see. But this is it. This is the last one. So he's getting snipped either while I'm pregnant or like the week after I give birth, he's going to get snipped, and that's just the way it is. Like, you know, I think this is the finale of it all, but we now feel like, oh, this is the end cap. Like, you know, like before we were kind of iffy after Jensen. We didn't really know why we felt odd about it. It's like, yes, we feel done, but do we? Like, there's just this odd feeling, like we're saying we feel done, but then there's this weird feeling. And so now we feel done. So stay tuned for the next video, because I'm going to get my hubby's reaction to me being pregnant and see what he has to say about it. And I also have a couple of clips of the boys saying how they feel about me being pregnant. Now, I will say the 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old in just a couple of short weeks, really doesn't understand what's going on, right? But obviously, Killian and Tristan do. I'm not going to film Jaren because, number one, I don't like to film him out of respect for his mom, just in case she doesn't like him being filmed. And so I try not to film him unless he's just here with all of us and I'm filming everyone. So I try not to film him. And also, I don't really think he's very excited about it. And so I don't really want to hear that negativity right now. According to her, he's not excited about it at all. He doesn't like it. He's upset about it. And so I don't want to put that negativity out there on camera. Not that he has to feel any certain way about it. You feel how you feel. But I don't really want to put that on camera. But the other kids' reactions are funny. They're not like overly excited, but they're not upset, and you will see their reaction. It's pretty funny. So yes, I am going to go now, and I'm going to put that video up soon as well, so you can see everybody's reaction. But I kind of wanted to tell you, okay, there was the baby announcement. Now here's the story behind it. So there will be tons more content on pregnancy videos. That's like my most watched video on this channel so far is a video that I did about my pregnancy with Jensen. I didn't put a whole lot of them up, but the ones I did got a lot of views. And so I really want to help people. Especially new moms, but definitely other moms as well. And so this is my 5th pregnancy. I mean, I think I know just a little bit about it at this point. So I definitely want to share all I know. And I'm really looking forward to that content. So stay tuned, and I will show you my kids, my husband's reaction, and give you lots of pregnancy content and lots of baby content as well along the way. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.